This is take 3 on my intro, and I'm imagining that Arizona State, West Virginia, and a whole lot of the Big 12 teams with like 3 takes on their football games this weekend. This is the Big 12 squad.
You're talking ball with the Big 12 squad. From Oklahoma State to Utah, from Kansas State to BYU, from Houston to Texas Tech, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming Big 12 weekend. Buckle up. It's the Big 12 squad, and we have a seat for you. No hurt feelings and thin skin allowed. Squad up. You're part of the Big 12 squad.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to the Big 12 squad. I'm Drake Toll from America's #1 Big 12 podcast, Locked On Big 12, alongside Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech. Jake Hatch covers the Cougars of BYU on Locked On Cougars. Parker Ainsworth of Locked On Cougs. Yes, that's confusing. Talks about Houston. Nick Maravitz doesn't talk about much. Ever at all. But when he does, it's Iowa State with Locked On Cyclones. Kevin Borba, Locked On Buffs. And boy, I'm glad he showed up this week. I did not know if we were going to get him in the flesh. Ooh.
Cody!
I was about to say, I thought we were told you had to win to be on this week's show.
No, that was not conveyed to me. But you know what? We're winning hearts and minds. Okay?
Yes.
If you're a 2-star recruit out there, we want you.
Cody Stovall of Locked On Oklahoma State. This is the Big 12 squad brought to you by Game Time. Cody, I really didn't know this guy was going to be here tonight. It's Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia. Cody Stovall and Mountaineer Paul, the two guys get highlighted first. Paul, we'll get to you, but this week I've heard a lot of Big 12 analysts, national analysts, talk about how the conference was not great toward the end of the day on Saturday. Cody, I remember when Oklahoma State had like 3 straight 10-win seasons and then went 7-6 or whatever it was, and the whole fan base fell apart. If only they could have known what. All right, yeah. Paul, we'll start with you. You have this dark.
Yeah, what are you doing down there, Darth Vader?
It's like I can hear the whole screen going.
Exacerbated breathing going on. Paul, are you okay over there?
Yeah, I was running to the camp. I was running in here. I was late. You know what I mean? So I ran all the way from my mailbox all the way up here.
Paul, West Virginia was not running anywhere at all on Saturday.
Yeah.
We'll give Cody a second to catch his breath too. What happened in the loss to Ohio?
Yeah, it was a disappointing performance to say the least. I think it's just proves most people's points that there's not very many teams in the modern era that have brought in 80, especially 81 new guys and succeeded quick. Last year they brought in 60 at Jack State. They lost 3 in a row to start the year. They started 0-3 and they won 8 in a row to win the conference. I'm not saying we're going to do that. I'm saying Rich Rod's what he does takes a little time. The culture that he goes for is a little bit unique in today's age, modern age. It's a little bit more rougher. I think it's taken time for that to catch on. And our offensive line is not even average. If you look at Pro Football Focus, both weeks, even against Robert Morris, we've had guys scoring in the 50s and that's not the be all end all. Obviously, you have to watch tape. There's probably been, I would say, 20% misassignment, 80% no push. So it's like it's a strength issue. So that's not great. So Rich Rod's having to try to figure out a way to maybe go more perimeter-oriented run scheme, or do you hit the button and say, okay, Max Brown, you started at Florida, you can spin it. Do you come in and throw to? Because I personally believe we have some good receivers. So you may have a philosophy flip, which Rich Rod's never done. Last point, Rich Rod goes really fast. When you have an offense that goes really fast, it's not getting first downs. That's not good either because it puts your defense under a ton of pressure. And we saw that Saturday play out. The defense was salty, 17 points for as many possessions. They had to guard for 40 minutes. They only gave up 17 points, had 3 takeaways, 9 yards off 3 takeaways. Not good.
Cody,
I think we're underestimating one aspect of this game, guys, and that was that it was the return of the MAC.
Ohio was 11-0 last year, or won 11 games last year. That's not like a terrible MAC team, and they returned a lot of that team. So
Excuse me, Parker. I think Drake was about to ask about the basketball school of the bunch here. Okay.
Not to say that Oregon is a bad Big Ten team. If we're going on saying that opponents that won are bad. Cody, that was Paul just gave me, he waxed poetic about the ways that West Virginia could improve moving forward and things that didn't go too well. You guys were just complete dog. I mean,
Yeah, no, and I appreciate you not trying to sugarcoat that. That is precisely the product that we put out on the football field, was just a big old pile of it. And
Honor code violations all over the place.
Cody,
No
let's ask the
doubt.
real question about Oklahoma State.
That's what I'm going to call it.
When do we pull the plug on Mike Gundy?
Kevin, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, legitimately speaking, I think part of watching that game was sad. I was never super upset or angry because I realized we're watching the end of an era. There is no way that Mike Gundy can recover from that moment in the eyes of the Board of Regents unless we win like 8 in a row and find ourselves in Arlington. That's about the only chance Mike Gundy now has as remaining the Cowboys head coach. Right? You know, there's calls already happening. You know, we just cut down $15 million out of the buyout for this specific reason. Did we think that we were going to be this worthless? No, we did not. We upped our NIL. We upped a bunch of stuff. We got a new staff, and it was an absolute disaster. So everything that he's tried to prove that he still got it, it showed the other day that he doesn't. And I actually wanted Chris Level's opinion on this. You've been watching football for quite some time. You've been covering it professionally for quite some time. I've been going to games since 95 in Stillwater. I have never seen any team ever beat the ever living out of us like Oregon just did. And we played some number 1 ranked OU teams. We played some number 2 ranked Texas teams. We played some top 10 A&M squads and top 10 Colorado squads. I have never seen Oklahoma State get beat up and down the field. We got beat 58-0 against Tech in 2000. Texas Tech did it to us, and it still didn't look that bad. Am I higher than a draft's Facina, or am I on to something here?
You have a hard time ever recovering from it. There's no reason that Oklahoma State should lose by that much. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're playing the Packers. I worry about, because what you're going to start to see is a little apathy, I'm afraid, and you're already probably starting to see it with the fan base, and until a change is made. And then what's the button that is Zach Robinson, the button that they get put? Are you going to go hire GJ Kinney? I'm just genuinely curious as to like what direction that they go, and how much money do they owe Mike Gundy right now? Even though they cut it down, how much is he still owed?
His buyout would be $15 million.
Yeah, I mean, which I don't think is an easy pill to swallow for Oklahoma State, because they're trying to battle with NIL, and they've got this
that's a red shirt.
$20.5 million. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on there. So I don't envy your situation there, but trust me, man, we've all been there where you've got a head coach, you just it's kind of lame duck-ish, and it's a tough existence.
Well, Cody Campbell played against Oklahoma State, so maybe he'll do us a favor. All right, be a pal.
Can we borrow $1 billion? Just $1 million?
I do think, though, and Houston just did this whole coach search thing, and this is the bad part of it, Cody. There are a lot of really good coaches in the Texas-Oklahoma area, actually, that are like at the group of 6 level, FCS level, coordinator level, like I think are due to get a good coaching job. I don't know.
Jeff Traylor, GJ Kinney,
Dana.
Well, Chris, the problem with the GJ Kinney, and I think GJ Kinney, other than Zach Robinson, should be our top target, right? But the problem with GJ Kinney is, you mentioned it, you got to pay the Mike Gundy buyout, and then GJ Kinney now has a $10 million buyout. That's $25 million before you ever even find a coach. I don't know that Oklahoma State can afford to do.
Maybe a Jeff Mullen.
Matt Wells. You could even get a Matt Wells.
What about like Garrett Riley though? Like what?
I love Garrett Riley.
Colin Klein.
Oh, there we go. No, there's
Colin Klein's not a bad idea.
When you're looking for a coach, are you
Zach
looking for
Alley.
someone like an up and comer, or are you trying to find someone with experience? Because like if you shoot for like, obviously we're talking Oregon,
That's Cody like he's making the
so, like
choice.
Will Stein, like obviously, are you trying to find someone who's going to stick around forever, or find someone who could boost the program for the now? Because that's also,
I believe the objective always would to be get somebody that'll stay forever, because we're not the Alabama. We're not going to recruit, the Nick Saban level of coaches all that often. So we're probably going to have to get an up and comer. When we hired Mike Gundy, everyone thought it was a stupid decision because he'd only been a coordinator for a couple of years, and and just because he was an alum, blah blah blah. That worked out very well. And the beauty to Zach Robinson is he's proven himself in the NFL, and he would have that connection that Mike Gundy doesn't seem to have. Right? We've talked about this before. OU has guys like Adrian Peterson and DeMarco Murray out here recruiting on behalf of OU. Oklahoma State doesn't have that. If you hire a Zach Robinson, he brings back the Des Bryants and the Tatum Bells and the Brendan Pettigrews of the world to help Oklahoma State, and that's beneficial.
Cody, Ben Arbuckle, file that name away.
Yeah, well, that there's no doubt that Arbuckle. Now he's going to have a buyout too, and may have options.
He will have options, but I'm saying he's in Norman. He's in Oklahoma right now. Keep an eye on him.
Brendan Marion, Tulsa wide receiver, right?
Well, we tried that. I was told last year he was the leading candidate, and then we found some stuff that he apparently led that UNLV money problem, the promising of NIL that wasn't real, and so we backed off. Supposedly, that's why we backed off of Brendan Marion. But he was supposed to be the guy before Doug Meacham, and then we found something that we didn't like, and I was told that it had something to do with the UNLV NIL stuff.
He runs.
Eric Morris at North Texas is also up and comer too.
Troy Taylor at Stanford, who just got fired in the
This
offseason.
is bro's naming names. I love it.
Young Douglas Gottlieb.
Yes, atta baby Paul.
Paul, does he get to keep his radio show though?
Yes,
that's a must.
It's in the
That's
contract.
a must.
That's great. That's
And
great.
he's doing it with
crescendo.
Mike Gundy.
Did you guys know that the AP poll is the single stupidest thing that's ever existed? Get a load of this one, Locked On Big 12 Squad. Today's show is brought to you by DoorDash. The reason it's brought to you by DoorDash is because I, as a human being, love it. Time to look back, crown this week's MVP on who delivered, and you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving every time you order. These players delivered. Sawyer Robertson of the Baylor Bears delivered in a big way against SMU, coming back and winning the game in Dallas. No hesitation, no delay. Sawyer Robertson, he's on a streak. Just like Sawyer delivered for the Baylor Bears, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday with your order, stack it up all season, save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period beginning and finishing beginning now. Finishing through November 18th. That is DoorDash. The AP poll. It's arguably it's bad. It's arguably worse than FPI, though FPI from ESPN would tell you Alabama is the number 4 team in the country. Insane, by the way. Just that's a real ranking.
I love BYU. So we love the FBI out here in Provo.
Does dropping 72 on Louisiana Monroe mean nothing these days?
73.
Sorry, even more.
This comes from Ralph Amson on the Twitter. He says, "Let's check in on the GOAT, AP voter Chad Bishop, who moved Notre Dame from unranked to number 8 this week after they won against BYU. That's right, they had a bye week from unranked to number 8. He also forgot Florida State on last week's ballot, and this week took Ole Miss from 19th to absolutely unranked after an SEC road win." And how can we forget Haley Sawyer, who, God love her soul, and she's tried to defend it after Florida, number 16 in her ballot, lost to University of South Florida at home. She moved Florida from 16 to 14. She saw enough.
Can we get rid of the polls? The coaches poll is stupid. The AP poll is asking beat writers, which it is hard to vote. Like if you don't watch the games, I'm not excusing any of this, but there was like 8 voters who had SMU over Baylor. Right? It's hard for people who are covering individual teams to vote. Just let the computer do it.
There are dozens of SIDs who are vested in the coaches poll. It's their favorite part of the week. So you do not take away their best part of what they get to do every single.
The coaches poll. We don't go off the coaches poll though. Like the AP poll means something. Like we go off those rankings until the playoff rolls around.
And it shouldn't. It
shouldn't. But we go off those rankings till the playoff rolls around, and even then, when the playoffs go around, it's like, okay, well, Baylor was number 17 in the AP poll, so them moving here or there, like people use it as reference, and so they need to figure out a way to.
Is the problem more the usage though? Like y'all just pointed out, like we have no problem dismissing a coach's poll. Why do we have such a big problem with dismissing the AP? But it's just a different human body, different like set of human bodies.
Well,
like,
it's a metric. It's a metric that's factored in. It's baked into the cake of how they pick the teams that go to the playoffs and all the things. And it's just
It used to mean something back in Chris's day.
Well, and Borba nailed it. Like
it's broadcast. BYU's got a national championship trophy thanks to that poll. So shove it,
Love you, Chris.
I got a poll right here. It's got Houston at 23 right now. Can we just pick any poll? Because I got one right
do.
here.
Yes, because trust me,
is it my poll?
Rubiette ready? Rugiette ready?
The
Yes, you guys see where Sawyer she made her X account private after this because she got bombarded.
Wow.
By millions of people.
Her explanation made it so much worse.
Oh,
She
yeah,
said
my
it's for fun and it
processes
doesn't
and
matter.
logic. She
Hey,
said, I
speaking
just don't want
of,
to go into my processes and logic on this.
So I do think that she's getting the brunt end of this because she's a target people like to pick
And
on.
she's
Like,
not the only terrible AP
she's
voter. Let's be
absolutely
fair.
not the only person that
No,
thinks like
there
this, right?
There were
She's
so many
not-
people who had head-to-head matchups wrong. There were so many people who had
Misogyny.
unranked teams, and like I saw this idea earlier. Like, what would we think of national writers, like rather than beat reporters voting on it, like people who are paid to watch a bunch of games rather than someone who's.
But Kirk
God.
Herbstreit has a vested interest to the SEC.
I mean,
Again, I made this case with I made this case this week, maybe a bit with Level, is if I own $1 million in stock for Apple, what's my phone? An iPhone, my headphones, AirPods. I want Apple to succeed. If ESPN has $1 billion in the SEC, who do they want to pump up more? Who do their employees feel inclined to assist?
then go to the computer. It's either the computer or nothing. Really. Like,
BCS.
bring back the BCS. Bring it back.
Are we
I
going
don't
to
know
let
why
that
we need a
thing
playoff
called
committee.
AI do it?
I don't know why we need the people voting. Like, I think Miss, what was her, Sawyer, right? I think she kind of is like the loudest, I guess, punching bag we've ever seen. I think the video made it worse, but we're not going to pretend like this happens every year, every week, for instance. Like, I think there's moments where the Big 12 last year had a bunch of big wins and like none of those teams got any respect from the AP voters because they don't watch those games. So why are we expecting people from California, where I'm from, or from Florida to watch games in Texas or games in Utah? Like, why are we putting so much pressure on that?
It's
So
also
Thor was 100%
so many
right.
games. It's
We
so
all
much to
cover-
watch. Like, how much?
Because
can
if
you
they
do?
would have watched Colorado, they would have seen 3 quarterbacks, and I quote, I don't even know who this third guy is.
Martin Luther Staub.
Right?
Martin
Yeah.
Luther Staub.
I mean,
yeah.
Legend of Ryan Staub.
Didn't get a vote,
Right.
unfortunately, Chris. I think Haley Sawyer did have us at 3, though. So
okay, there you go.
Which, again, credit to Haley. There was a voter last season. I wish I could remember his name. Who, after Notre Dame played Navy, if you remember anything about that game, it was somewhere around like 55-7 Notre Dame. They moved Navy ahead of Notre Dame in their AP poll.
were they a veteran? Were they a veteran?
Probably.
I mean, thank you for your
There you go.
service. Well, yeah, we can roll with that. We're okay.
There are plenty of geriatric AP poll voters and those who just don't do the thing where you have to watch the college football, and which also credit to most of these voters. I've never really, that I can remember, looked at one and thought like, wow, the school next to your name, like, oh, they represent Oklahoma State, that they actually voted with their heart and put and assisted their own favorite school. They usually just do something really, really stupid, unrelated to anything they cover. Like, she didn't put USC at 1. She just like moved Florida up after they lost.
Which is a
Kate
much more
Rogerson?
innocent mistake. Like,
Was it Kate Rogerson? that
Where?
omitted Notre Dame.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe it's Ian Press, Blair Kirchhoff. Coming up, So I think Texas Tech, Iowa State, BYU, and Utah are in that top 4 conversation. TCU may be around there, but is there anybody else? Or is there just a pretty healthy gap, right? But don't give me the big eyes. You don't know with your third string quarterback.
Ryan Staub begins.
Martin Luther Staub, baby.
It's Locked On Big 12 Squad. Today's show is brought to you by Mazda Standard. The reason that I now drive a Mazda is thanks to Mazda Standard. They deliver confidence with every single drive. Mazda is my preferred vehicle because they have more awards than anyone else as of August in 2025 in the IIHS top safety pick. Footwork to breath work. Athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every model. Feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls, all-wheel drive as well, and SUVs. Like our players, we sweat every day. Because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved, and do it with Mazda. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is exactly where I go to win a little bit of money. I go in there and I tell FanDuel, I said, hey, I think the BYU Cougars will cover against Stanford, and they did, and FanDuel gave me money instantly right now. New customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because I can go into my favorite best bets that are released every Thursday today on the Big 12, Locked On Big 12 channel, and I can make those picks on FanDuel, and FanDuel pays me. Makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup with the NFL. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. That is FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet. Do it today. Let's start with Jake Hatch. BYU has played no one. Stanford could make the quarterfinals of the FCS, probably. They could likely get.
They lost to Sac State like a year ago.
They better bench their quarterback if they have any hopes of doing anything. That's another story.
Yeah, calling him quarterback is just it's a compliment. It's more than he deserves, probably.
He retired from football, and they were like, "Please come play football for us."
And they have a 4-star prospect on the bench that they refuse to.
For modern day, like that's a big deal. And
he's got a real Alan Bowman to him. He's got this real old man Alan Bowman thing to him. Hatch, BYU has proved nothing other than the fact they don't suck. I think the same as Texas Tech. I explained this to Level. BYU proved that their floor is not 3 wins. They'll certainly garner another one this season. Have they proven that they can win the Big 12?
I would be hard pressed to say they can win the Big 12 at this juncture because, as you mentioned, Stanford and Portland State, those are by far the 2 weakest opponents on paper that BYU is going to face this year. I said it in the preseason. I know that guys like Borba have heard me say this. I've been thinking that East Carolina might be the toughest of BYU's first 6 games. I still believe that to be the case.
6?
What? Their first 6? Yeah, absolutely.
Damn.
Colorado must be the 7th game, right?
It's not Utah that hates the Big 12. It's Jake Hatch.
Colorado must be the 7th game.
I know that they don't play Connor Wigman this year, so they
don't play Connor Wigman. No, I'm telling you, I really do think that East Carolina is going to be the first stiff test they're going to face, and it probably is the first of the 6 until they get to the Utah game. I really think that we do not know much about BYU at this juncture, enough to say that I think they're a Big 12 favorite. I would say that they absolutely will be in the mix if everything holds true, but we still need a lot more for them to show on the field.
Wow. I did not know the Hauser kid from Michigan State is the quarterback at ECU until this very moment. So that's, I guess, boding well for them. Level, you and I did a crossover this week. Texas Tech in a very similar boat.
Yeah, and I told you the same thing I'm going to say now. This is my man Nick's league until anybody does anything different right now. They've had 2 of the better wins that anybody else has had. We just don't know a lot. We've got a long way to go. I think Tech's collision course is going to be Utah in about a week and a half. If you win that game, you absolutely belong in the conversation. If you don't, then you don't belong in that conversation. The end.
Pretty simple.
But you've played a couple of JV teams to this point, and you've hammered them. Your starters have played into the second quarter in both of these games. I don't think Oregon State – the Oregon State head coach is dropping F-bombs on national TV. That's awesome. What kind of disarray that their program is in. They're coming in to love it this weekend. I did. He kicked it like a soccer ball, and then they returned that soccer ball all the way into the end zone. Oops. So, yeah, and I guess we're supposed to give credit to TCU for beating a just really bad, terrible, slow, poorly coached North Carolina team.
Oh,
yeah!
Wow.
Tell me I'm wrong. Super Bowl rings, and in Chris Level's book, it's poorly coached. All right, there we go.
The college, this ain't the NFL, man. This college game is a little bit different, and TCU, yeah, they showed them that. So,
according to what I saw,
he's more worried about his trademarks he wants filed and patented than anything.
Gold digger,
and who he does and doesn't let in the facility.
They all got the
well,
and you know what? I wouldn't let the Patriots in either because there's nobody to come see. I mean, like, I have no prospect for you to come see. So save your time, fellas. I think you're doing them a favor.
You're not wrong, Chris. Pete Thamel was like, they have 2 draftable players, and then their best player gave up 9 catches. So
yeah,
is it Thamel though, or Thamel?
Huh?
Is it Thamel or Thamel?
Maybe it's Rugia Ready. I don't know.
Rubiot. I did see on Twitter where Chris Level said that Utah is small and tiny and puny, and that Texas Tech will beat them by 1,000,000 points. That was really awesome.
How's that you Twitter mob treating you, Chris?
It's not even game week. It's not even game week.
It's cute when they just pull out just a portion of what
Chris got clipped.
said.
He got clipped.
I did.
Chris,
I got
Chris,
selectively edited.
Wait till next Monday. It gets even better. Trust me.
Okay. I appreciate
UCF
those fans having a
clipped me one
pulse.
time.
But Drake asked me if I'm supposed to feel sorry for these guys because they got like a 10 a.m. local kick. No, I don't feel sorry for them. You taking that check? Where else did you have to go? Utes, you're stuck here, man. You take your little 10 a.m. local slot and you'll like it.
I just like that you called them your toughest test upcoming because Houston plays them the week
Utah,
after, right?
Something. So. Yeah,
that's alpha male Chris Level, and you can't do anything about it.
Clip that.
There's nothing you can do.
Send that to Utah.
Hey, is Rocco Becht on the Heisman watch list yet?
He should be.
He should be. No, not Heisman.
Yeah.
Nick, is he a Heisman candidate? Be for real. Let's be
so for real.
Are we sure? Nick has spoken a lot this show.
I don't know what the over-under was on my first words, but I'll chime in here. Iowa State. When you're on top of the conference, you just don't need to chime in. You can let everyone else kind of duke it out down below. I don't know why Rocco wouldn't be. He doesn't have the numbers, but like from what we've seen on the field, he's doing what he has to do. He's getting it done. It's not going to be enough to get him a Heisman. He doesn't have the fancy, flashy numbers like he did last year, 2 1,100-yard wide receivers, but he's doing enough to win these games. And the Iowa State game it's neither quarterback from Iowa or Iowa State will ever win the Heisman because that game will always be 10-13. It literally always will. And that will always kill their numbers.
Does Iowa's quarterback have 100 yards passing on the year, though, Nick?
Did you see the stat about Gronowski?
I have
He broke the record for the least passing yards through the first 2 weeks. 127 or something.
Not what you want to be leading. Yeah.
Same thing with them. I feel no sympathy for Iowa.
It's a Cyclone State, baby.
They choose this they choose it.
I was gonna say, as long as they have the regime they've got there in Des Moines, it ain't changing anytime.
It's not changing.
I'm sure Gronowski is a wonderful person and one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It's just he went to Iowa. Iowa happened to Mark Gronowski. It's nothing you can do about that.
Nick,
wonderful member of the community.
But Iowa is the Big Ten's version of Utah. There you go. That's all you need to say.
Hey, did you say Des Moines? Aren't they in Iowa City?
I don't remember. They in Des Moines.
Yeah, that outfit in Des Moines. Yeah, I think
it doesn't matter.
Come get me, Hawkeye fans.
The sentiment was there.
There's no passing touchdowns. That's all that matters.
Nick
Iowa.
Maravets goes into the teeth of the Wolves' den this weekend. Wolves, hell yeah, Jonesboro, Arkansas. Is the location. What a beautiful place to play a road game, huh? They have a fountain at Centennial Stadium, don't they?
That's what happens when you're 14 in the AP poll. You get to go on the road.
You get to go to Arkansas. That's what happens when your athletic director walks to a podium and goes, "I'm gonna shoot you guys straight. We have no money." that's where
Sam Pittman's kind of like an Arkansas Ed Orgeron.
He is, but different
There you
school,
go.
but adjacent. I can see how you have gotten to the yes. They play something close to that. I think Iowa State would also beat Arkansas if they were playing them on the road. But Arizona State told me to give hope in no one ever. I've learned that this week after the Mississippi State loss. That is Chris Level of Locked On Texas Tech. Jake Hatch talks the Cougars of BYU. Park Rainsworth of Locked On Cougs of Houston. Nick Maravets, the Cyclones. Kevin Morma, Locked On Buffs. Cody Stovall, Oklahoma State. Mountaineer Paul of Locked On West Virginia. This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making our shows your first listen every single day. The Dos Grande Squad.